What if an old Queen Elizabeth II 1-penny coin in your pocket is actually worth millions of dollars? Even coins in bad condition can be extremely valuable because of rare dates, minting errors, or unique varieties. In this video, we'll reveal the most valuable Elizabeth II 1-penny coins that collectors are searching for around the world. Don't miss it, you might already have a hidden treasure. First up, the 1965 1-penny coin of Queen Elizabeth II is a historic bronze coin from the United Kingdom that represents an important period in British monetary history before the country adopted the decimal currency system in 1971, and although many examples of this coin exist today in worn or damaged condition, it still remains an interesting collectible and historical artifact for coin collectors and history enthusiasts around the world. The coin was issued during the reign of Elizabeth II, who became queen in 1952 and whose portrait appeared on British coins for many decades, making her one of the most recognizable monarchs in numismatic history. The 1965 penny was produced by the famous Royal Mint, which has been responsible for producing the official coinage of Britain for centuries. During the 1960s, the British monetary system was still based on the old pre-decimal structure in which 240 pennies equaled £1, meaning pennies like the 1965 issue were used constantly in everyday transactions for small purchases such as food, bus fares, newspapers, or other daily goods, and because of this heavy circulation, many surviving coins today are found in poor or heavily worn condition. The coin is made primarily from bronze, typically composed of about 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc, giving it a reddish-brown appearance when freshly minted, although over time coins exposed to air, moisture, and handling develop a darker brown or even nearly black color due to oxidation and natural aging of the copper alloy surface. On the obverse side of the coin is the first official coin portrait of Queen Elizabeth II created by the British sculptor Mary Gillick, and this design shows a young uncrowned queen wearing a simple laurel wreath, a style that symbolized classical dignity and simplicity rather than royal regalia, and surrounding the portrait is the Latin legend, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD, which translates into English as, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, a traditional royal title used on British coinage for centuries. The reverse side of the coin displays the iconic seated figure of Britannia, a symbolic female figure representing Britain and its maritime strength, holding a trident in one hand and resting beside a shield decorated with the Union Jack flag, while in the background a lighthouse and ship appear near the sea, representing the long naval tradition and global trading history of the British nation. Below the figure appears the denomination 1 penny and the date 1965, clearly identifying the year of issue. The Britannia reverse design used on the coin traces its artistic origins back to engraver Leonard Charles Wyon, whose design remained a classic symbol on British pennies for many decades. The 1965 penny is a relatively large coin compared with modern small denominations, with a diameter of about 30.8 millimeters, a weight of approximately 9.45 grams, and a plain smooth edge, making it a solid and heavy coin that feels substantial when held in the hand. During the 1960s, the Royal Mint produced extremely large numbers of pennies because they were essential to everyday commerce, and because of this high production level, the 1965 penny is generally considered a common coin rather than a rare one, meaning that most coins found today, especially those in bad condition, do not carry significant market value. A penny described as being in bad condition typically shows clear signs of heavy circulation such as flattened details on the Queen's portrait, worn lettering around the rim, scratches or dents across the surface, discoloration from oxidation, or corrosion caused by environmental exposure, and in some cases the coin may appear extremely dark or almost black due to the natural chemical reactions that occur in copper-based metals over long periods of time. The Britannia design on worn coins may appear faint, with the trident, shield, and facial features becoming difficult to see, while the rim of the coin might be rounded or damaged from decades of use. Although collectors often prefer coins in higher grades such as very fine, extremely fine, or uncirculated condition, even worn examples can still provide educational value and historical interest because they show how widely the coin circulated and how frequently it was used by ordinary people. In terms of monetary value, a heavily worn 1965 penny generally sells for only a small amount in the collector's market, sometimes just a few cents to a few dollars depending on demand and appearance, although unusual minting errors or exceptionally well-preserved examples can be worth more to specialized collectors. The historical importance of the 1965 penny also lies in its connection to the major transformation of the British currency system that occurred during the late 1960s and early 1970s, culminating in the event known as Decimal Day, when the United Kingdom replaced the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence with the modern decimal structure of 100 new pence per pound. Because of this transition, coins like the large bronze penny eventually disappeared from everyday circulation, making them nostalgic reminders of a previous era of British life. Today, collectors, historians, and hobbyists around the world often keep examples of these coins as part of historical coin collections, and even coins in poor condition can serve as interesting artifacts representing the social and economic environment of mid-20th century Britain. The long reign of Queen Elizabeth II, which lasted more than 70 years, means that her portrait appeared on many generations of coins, and the early Mary Gillick portrait used on the 1965 penny is particularly admired by collectors for its simple classical beauty and youthful depiction of the Queen at the beginning of her reign. For beginner coin collectors, finding a 1965 Elizabeth II penny, even in worn condition, can be a good starting point for learning about British coinage, minting techniques, metal compositions, grading standards, and the broader field of numismatics, the academic study and collection of coins and currency. Although the financial value of a damaged example is usually modest, the historical narrative behind the coin, its connection to the British monarchy, and its role in everyday commerce during the 1960s give it lasting cultural and educational significance, reminding us how even a small piece of metal currency can carry decades of history, national identity, and human activity within its worn surfaces. Next up, the 1987 one-penny coin of Queen Elizabeth II is part of the modern decimal coinage of the United Kingdom and represents an important stage in the evolution of British currency during the late 20th century, and although many of these coins are found today in worn or damaged condition, they still hold historical interest for collectors and historians who study everyday circulation coins. The coin was issued during the reign of Elizabeth II, one of the longest reigning monarchs in British history, whose portrait appeared on British coins for more than 70 years and became one of the most recognizable images in global coinage. By 1987, the United Kingdom had already adopted the decimal currency system that began in 1971, which means that the penny was now 1/100th of a pound rather than part of the older system of pounds, shillings, and pence that had existed for centuries, and therefore the 1987 penny belonged to the modern decimal series used for everyday purchases across Britain and sometimes in other territories connected with the British monetary system. The coin was produced by the historic Royal Mint, the official mint responsible for manufacturing the nation's coins and medals, an institution with a long history dating back more than 1,000 years. Unlike the earlier large bronze pennies issued before 1971, the 1987 penny is smaller and lighter because it was designed according to the new decimal coinage standards. The coin is made primarily from bronze, usually composed of about 97% copper along with small amounts of zinc and tin, giving it a reddish or brownish color when freshly minted. However, coins that circulate for many years or are stored in poor conditions often develop darker tones ranging from deep brown to almost black due to natural oxidation of the copper metal, contact with moisture, oils from human hands, or environmental factors such as dirt, humidity, and chemical exposure. On the obverse side of the coin appears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II created by the sculptor Raphael Makhlouf, whose design was used on British coinage from 1985 until 1997. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the royal diadem crown and facing right, and around the portrait is the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, which is a shortened Latin form meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, continuing a long tradition of Latin inscriptions used on British coins for centuries. The reverse side of the 1987 penny features the well-known crowned portcullis design created by Christopher Ironside, which symbolizes the historic gate of the Palace of Westminster and represents the authority of the British Parliament. The portcullis is topped by a crown and surrounded by the inscription, 1 penny, with the year, 1987, placed below, making the design simple yet symbolic of British political heritage. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1987 penny has a diameter of approximately 20.3 millimeters, a weight of about 3.56 grams, and a smooth edge, making it much smaller and lighter than the large pre-decimal bronze pennies used before 1971. Millions of these coins were produced during the 1980s because pennies were essential for everyday transactions, and because of this high mintage the 1987 penny is generally considered a common coin rather than a rare collectible. Many examples have circulated heavily in shops, markets, public transport systems, and vending machines, which explains why a large number of coins from this year are found in bad or worn condition today. A penny described as being in poor condition may show numerous signs of circulation, including scratches, dents, flattened details on the Queen's portrait, faded lettering around the rim, and discoloration, or dark patches caused by oxidation or environmental exposure. In some cases the coin's surface may appear dull or rough due to corrosion or long periods spent in damp environments such as soil or old storage containers. Despite these imperfections, worn coins still tell an interesting story about their journey through decades of everyday economic activity, passing through countless hands as people used them to pay for small purchases. In the collector's market, a 1987 penny in bad condition usually has very little monetary value, often worth only a few cents or slightly more than face value because the coin was produced in such large numbers. However, collectors sometimes look for unusual examples such as minting errors, off-center strikes, or coins with exceptional preservation, which can make certain pieces more desirable. Even when the financial value is low, the historical significance of the coin remains important because it reflects the period of the 1980s when Britain was using its modern decimal coinage and when Queen Elizabeth II continued to appear on currency used by millions of people every day. For beginner coin collectors, studying a coin like the 1987 Elizabeth II penny, even one in worn condition, can be a useful way to learn about coin design, metal composition, minting technology, and the grading system used by numismatists to evaluate coin quality. The coin also represents part of the long continuity of British coinage, linking earlier centuries of monetary history with modern currency systems. Although a damaged example will not usually be worth a large amount of money, it still serves as a small historical artifact that reflects the economic life, artistic design traditions, and royal symbolism of the United Kingdom during the late 20th century, reminding us that even a simple everyday coin can carry decades of history and cultural meaning within its worn bronze surface. Please like and subscribe to my channel.